use that as a reference. Okay, but I'm going to grab Tony. I'm going to bring him in, throw my hips up, and go around the love handles. And then through here, he's going to sit on his haunches, okay, and his knees are going to be a little wide. Okay, we don't want narrow knees because then he's going to be unstable. So now through here, we're going to go into an arm drag. It's going to be a simple arm bar. I'm just going to grab his wrist, go under the other hand, use my legs to bring him to me. I'm just going to put his hand on my shoulder and grab the back of his elbow. So I've got two hands controlling one. Release from here, karate chop him in the side of the neck, and grab. Literally, you see how Tony is now looking at his own shoulder. That's what I want, okay? So karate chop, grab, and pin him onto his own shoulder. Okay, through here, this is training wheels. This is a learning tactic, but it's not necessary, okay? But don't get rid of it until you understand how to ride the bike. Foot on his hip, and I pinch my knee to his shoulder. Okay, so right now, I got my foot on his hip. My hand is holding his elbow, so if he starts trying to pull his hand, it's there. But now my knee pinching in almost serves the same purpose or similar purpose. If he's trying to pull his elbow's on my thigh. So when he's trying to pull, it's like now getting two pressures for one. Okay? Now, with this foot, we're going to ride it literally right up his side and try to make your knee or your heel touch your knee. So as I'm holding through here, watch my pivot. Okay, and I'm trying to make my heel touch my knee, but you can't because Tony's in the way. Okay, now through here, Heisman, just put your hand right on his ear, put your leg up and over. Do not cross your ankles. Okay, through here, you're going to hear all kinds of different reasonings why. Okay, the only one I care about is the fact that I want my knees to touch. Okay, and when I cross my ankles, my knees automatically flare out. I want it to be the exact opposite. I want my knees to touch, and where'd my feet go? My feet flare out. If I cross my ankles, my knees flare, and my feet touch. So I want to go the opposite. Pinch my knees together, clamp down on Tony's head, clamp down on his hip, heels to your butt, knees to your chest, and pull him in. All right, go ahead and pull out, Tony.
For the tap.
Go ahead, Tony.
Like mom, no hands.
One of the ways that Tony is going to try to escape from the position, he's just going to sit up. You hear in the fight game all the time, just stand up. Okay, it's not wrong. Okay, it's not easy, but it's not wrong. Okay, so if I got Tony, okay, I'm in. Control his hand, control his elbow. Karate chop, make him look at his shoulder. Foot on the hip, kick to his shoulder. Look at his elbow. It's literally riding right up my body. Okay, through here, and then pinching with my leg. Okay, Heisman, up and over, clamp down on his head, pinch your knees together, pull his wrist. Okay, and there's your tap. Okay, now, if I go like this, look up at the ceiling, Tony. Okay, go back. What pressure is literally on the back of his head? Tony's telling you right now, 0. So when he wants to look up and he wants to drive into me, there's nothing preventing him. If I take my foot and I put it on the back of his head, look up, Tony. Look up, Tony. Okay, and this leg's right now not even doing a job. It's literally just hanging out, okay? So crossing your feet is not getting you the pressure that you want. I want his head almost like it's going to get stuck to the floor. Again, pull your heels to your butt, pull your knees to your chest. We pinch our knees in the middle, which means our feet go to the outside. And the one I'm really interested in is the one that's on the back of Tony's neck, because that's the one. Catastrophically, when arm bars fail, it's a failure of position. And the way Tony's predominantly going to do it is by sitting up, pulling his arm to freedom, and then smashing the living crap out of me. Okay, so one more time. Control, trap the elbow. Karate chop, grab the back of his head, foot on the hip. This is a training wheel. Eventually you learn to get rid of it, okay? Pivot. Look how his hand is literally going with my body now. Tony's going out this way. His arm is going this way. I'm in a straight line. Tony is not. Tony's in this weird angle. Heisman, I don't like people looking at me when I'm about to break their arms or choke them or whatever, okay? Up and over, crunch his head, pull, 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 pull. Get your arm out, Tony. The biggest part you don't want to do is don't push, okay? Think about this, for the most part in jiu-jitsu, pulling is attacking, pushing is defending. So even with my legs when I hook him up, I am pulling him in tremendously, okay? Because the moment I push him away, I'm also pushing his arm off my hip. I want to keep him in, okay? Hold on, and then that's the break. Okay? It looks funky, air humping, whatever, but that is what actually goes after his elbow. All right, let's go slow. Let's grab partner. The part I love about jiu-jitsu is all leverage and real technique and real things. You know, it's one of these things. If all of a sudden something happened, society was destroyed, I do truly feel like I have black belts in 2 different karate systems. They don't exist. Punches will exist. Knees, elbows, they'll exist. But what makes like goju won't. Okay, because that's preferences, like when they're doing a kata and things of that nature. That's all preference. Jiu-jitsu is based off of real leverage, things of that nature. So the arm bars will all come back. Real chokes will come back. Because those are all based off of real pressures. That, yeah, I truly believe we don't create anything in jiu-jitsu. We discover it, okay? Every time somebody's like, check this out, I made this new thing. Man, somebody else is finding a video from 60, 70 years ago. It already existed, okay? And so I truly believe we don't create, we just discover as we go. You know, people didn't create dinosaurs, they discover dinosaurs, and then they get to name them whatever they want. And that's kind of like what jiu-jitsu is like. So when I've got Tony, part of the concepts we're always working on is we're always working through what we refer to as like red light, green light, okay? So right now, when you look at Tony, okay, if you cut my body in half and you cut his body in half, if this hand stays on this side and this hand stays on this side, those are green lights, okay? Green lights are good, okay? Generally speaking, during a green light, yeah, stuff can happen, but what's the odds? During a green light, it's usually when it's good. So we cut this line in half. When Tony's hand crosses that line, he's going into a yellow light. Yellow lights aren't necessarily bad, but you know they're leading to a red light, okay? So when his hand crosses over, that's yellow. Yellow is proceed with caution, okay? Or get in, get out, okay? Go into the intersection, get out of the intersection, because you know red light's coming. If his elbow crosses that line, that is a red light. Red light should not happen, okay? So when his elbow crosses that center, that's a no-go, okay? Now go back. Now, take my body and cut it in half this way, okay? So right now, his hands are here, green light. When his hands come forward, that's yellow. His hands have crossed this line. And if I can bring him all the way forward to where his elbows are crossing the line, what's that? Okay, so now we make it even better. I pull Tony in and I pull, his elbow has now crossed 2 red lights. He has crossed left to right and he's crossed forward to backwards. That's what makes this such a dangerous position, okay? Then I cross over. This is a yellow light for me. Remember, yellows aren't bad. They just mean be careful, okay? But the moment I take Tony and then I push him, I'm pushing him back to my green zone. Foot on the hip, make our pivot, over the head, crush, 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 hit the arm bar. Now, when Tony pulls his arm to freedom, go ahead and pull out, right through here, where's he going? Man, he is about to push into me, throw my legs to the side, and this is what we talked about. When arm bars fail, they're almost always what we refer to as catastrophic. Not only did I lose my submission, but I lost my dominance in the process. Because now Tony's on top of me, he's now playing side control, and the game just changed dramatically. So, when I did the arm bar, what was the most important part of some of my pressure? Knees together, that was to control his arm. Okay. What kept him from looking up? The downward pressure on the back of his head. So, I'm going to come in, I'm going to set him up, karate chop, make my angle. He's going to pull himself to freedom. Okay. And I'm going to make sure while he's pulling his hand free, I know where's he going. Man, he is about to sit up and come get me. Make it hard for him. The moment he pulls that arm to freedom, kick his head to the ground. Okay? So through here, what happens if Tony backs away from me and clears his head? Back up, Tony. No. Back up and push back in. He's just back in the guard. That wasn't that bad. Okay? So again, I'm here. Now potentially he backs out, pushes back in. Now he's walking into potentially a triangle, okay? If I'm playing through here and he tries to do, basically lift his head up to the ceiling, okay? Where did his right hand just go? The only way he lifts his head is that hand has to go on the floor. So when he puts that hand on the floor and starts trying to lift, no, push up, lift your head, lift your head. Okay, who controls the arm now? Who controls the arm now? Who controls the arm now? So again, every position we go into, to me, always should have an exit strategy, no matter what. Okay? In baseball, this is a baseball guy, what's an amazing batting average?
300.
Okay, which means you fail how much?
70% of the time.
Okay. And that's considered to be an amazing baseball player, batting 300. And you're failing over 2/3 of the time. Okay? So what does that tell you? Odds are you're going to fail more than you will succeed. So you better have an exit strategy that plans on the failure. In this case, I'm going for a submission. What's the odds of me landing the submission every time I do it? Okay, I'm going to say you're barely 1/10 of the time. Okay, so 1 out of 10, you'll land, maybe. Okay, unless the skill levels are really different. So 1 out of every 10. So what should you be prepping for? The failure. And then you should be looking at what's the most common failures. And then you prep for those. In this instance, I go for the arm bar. Number 1 common thing, pull that arm out. Guess what's happening next? He's going to push in. He's going to take over side control. If you're in the tournament, okay, you just gave up 3 points. Okay, you went for an arm bar, great move. He escapes, passes your guard, side control. That's 3. So not only did you just give up a position, but you just put points on the board. That may have just made the difference between winning and losing. So again, we go in. We play red light, green light. I put him into that red zone. Cross him over. Through here. The moment he pulls his arm, stomp him down. Put that heel to the floor. Don't worry about this one so much. Okay? This one's here so that if he starts thinking he's going to somersault or things of that nature, I can put my heel in his back and control him from here. So again, you'd be amazed, man. A lot of people from here, they're so aggressive, they forget, literally, he could just back up. Right now, the only thing holding him down is pressure on the back of his head. If Tony literally just backed away, he could escape my guard and the like. But you'd be amazed at how many people will not do this. They will drive into you to try and get something else. So again, through here, keep his head down. So every time he goes to lift his head, okay, I'm just going to push down. In order to lift his head, his hand has to become dedicated to the floor. He can't lift if he doesn't. So then we can hook. inside. That gives me a better connection. And here's this hand sitting right in front of me. Okay, so through here, simple. Control the elbow, control the hand. Push, push, push. Okay, simple. Hold here. Now, if I want to get a little bit more aggressive, pull him into me, and then I can lock him up, getting my Kimura grip. Hold the wrist over the elbow, lock my own wrist. Then make our rotation. Okay, or through here, take his thumb, make it face the ceiling, and then we can go for a straight armbar. If I do it this way, look at the way his elbow bends. There's nothing here, okay? But if I take his arm and rotate him thumb up and keep taking him towards my leg, now you can see the elbow has turned. This is the bendy part, okay? As we're looking at the elbow through here. That little twist, okay? Right now I'd have to go this way, but if I take it this way, okay, it starts to twist differently. The Kimura is my favorite. That's the one I think does the best job. So let's kind of focus on that one. But again, as soon as your partner pulls out, stomp the floor. Don't be in a hurry. Again, you already saw, if your partner pulls away, either we're gonna play open guard. If he completely backs away, he gets up, you get up. Okay? But if he pulls away and comes back in, likelihood is he just pushes back into your guard or possibly pushes into a triangle. And if I keep his head down, I can hook into his arm, and then I have a Kimura sitting right in front of me.